Hey, it's D. It's a brand new episode coming right for you, right on the FTO network. Enjoy. All right, everybody. Brand new episode of Table Cheese is here. We got like some cool stuff on the docket. We got THEATRHYTHM to talk about. We got OCTOPATH. We got like our top games of 2023 so far. I know it's only February, but I got a lot of stuff to talk about. Before we talk about any of that, I got a cool dude right next to me, Anton Sixxx. How's it going, man?
Hey, how's it going? Anton Sixxx, professional podcaster at your service. We didn't lose 2 episodes because of software failure, you know?
No, never.
Right.
That would never happen to us. And like, the cool thing about this is this video is gonna be posted. I almost posted like the broken video, but like they would have just heard me the entire time. They would have seen your lips moving, but they would just hear my audio the entire time. So I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Maybe someday in the future we get a blooper episode and like it'll just be that. But it's good to be back. It's good like to be out there into the ether. The cool thing is though, like on Cheesy Controller, you guys talked about both topics we were going to talk about on the show. So if you wanted to hear what Anton wanted to talk about when it came to the February Nintendo Direct, or what was it? What was the other topic? Was it the Discord? PlayStation Beta?
Probably.
Yeah. So you got like both of those episodes posted back to back on Cheesy Controller podcast. Make sure you check those out when you guys get a chance.
We had some editing issues, and so I got all the edits over the course of the day, and I was just like, all right, I'm getting these, and they're just going to go right out, hot out the oven.
I noticed that. Like they both like this right out there. Like I'm cool with it though. It's cool listening to you guys like talk about the ins and outs of what you guys think games and gamers and like the world of culture of games really is right now. So like it's always a fun time.
All right. So one of the things I wanted to go over today, like you said earlier, it's only February, but we just seem to be having a really good February, or 2023. We knew it would be a crazy year. Street Fighter 6 is happening. Final Fantasy 16 is happening. We possibly could be getting Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth. There's a possibility of Tekken 8. There are a lot of possibilities of games that we know about that are coming out this year. But I got a list of 14 games sitting in front of me where I went through the Metacritic list of the best games of the year.
Nice.
And so this is out of the top 35 games, and some of these don't technically count. And we'll talk about those when we get to them.
All right.
Because this list would be like 8 games if it weren't for re-releases and like ports and remasters.
Okay. I was hoping you were going to bring up the re-releases because we got Metro re-release, we got Dead Space re-release. There's a lot of re-releases out there, right? And like a good amount. I think isn't Starfield re-release also? Or am I wrong about that?
Well, Starfield's not out yet. All
right, I'm thinking about something else then. But I know Resident Evil 4 is going to get re-released also.
We're getting RE4 remake very soon. Like, that's the other thing. It's just the games that we have on the immediate horizon versus, like, what we have for the rest of the year. So this is going to be a year where it's important to stay on top of it. So, setting the goalpost starting in February. Metroid Prime Remastered. And I want to talk about this and Dead Space Remake at the same time. Because to me, both of these count. Both of these are, you go in and you are remaking the game. And I know that the original both Dead Space and Metroid use the original game's framework as far as like a code base and then build on top of that. But I feel like Metroid Prime Remaster, first of all, that game...
Period. They made it gorgeous. Like it is like essentially the same game, but like the way it looks, it's like if you have not played this game before,
which I haven't,
like a full-on treat. Oh, you had? I thought you had. You didn't play it on the GameCube?
No. I mean, I played it,
treat, man.
Yeah. So that's the thing with both Dead Space and Metroid. Both of these games look how people remember them looking. But then when they show the side by side of here's the old game and here's the new game, it is like whoa. And so, like, that is how I like when I've missed a game for a really long time and a remake comes out. I I'm not a purist. Like, I don't have a following to the series, so I'm going to watch, or not watch, play, like, the most recent iteration, you know? Like, even getting into games like Guilty Gear, I didn't start with the original Guilty Gear. And so series games, like, I didn't start with Final Fantasy 1. I didn't start with Monster Hunter 1. Like, even some of, like, my favorite games, I didn't start at the beginning, and sometimes it's fun to go back and check those things out. Like, one of my most anticipated games is the Final Fantasy 1 through 6 Pixel Remaster on PlayStation. Like, just being able to play, like, Final Fantasy 4 and Final Fantasy 6 and just have access to, because one of the games that from my backlog that I'm trying to, like, work into the schedule is Stranger of Paradise Final Fantasy Origin. And apparently that game, if you beat that game, you just go play Final Fantasy 1. So, and I don't know why. Like, I don't know how it ends. I don't know the spoilers, whatever. I just know everybody I know who's beat that game, like, through social media, through podcasting, they then go and play Final Fantasy 1 for whatever reason. So that is, I don't even know where that train started.
You can get immersed in it. Like, that's the whole thing. Like, you can get immersed into these games, like when they get, like, that new look, that new smell and feel that, like, old gamers don't have. And the real cool part for me is the fact that like, I think playing the games like that with the same like frame as, like, the older games, you respect where the games came from. Like, even though, like, you know, the eye candy is different, you respect, like, those old games and how they used to play. And we listened to a few of the similar podcasts if you were talking about games and games they were playing and, like, the remakes that are out, and they all say, like, the same thing that I hear from them. Like, they say that, like, I never played this game before. Like, I didn't even thought about playing this game, but like knowing that it's coming out now, I'm really into this, and, like, I want to, like, play other games like this and similar to this. So, like, it gets, like, the old and new gamers into, like a set of games that they may have forgotten about or never played before, with, like, a new appreciation for those styles of games. I feel like it's going to inspire games from years to come. So, like I get what you're saying. Like, it's just like a whole new treat and vibe for these games.
Yeah. And so these are games that aren't, that's always something as far as the preservation sense goes.
Right.
These, like, sure, on Xbox, I think Dead Space 1 is backwards compatible, but we now have an entry point for so many people to get into these series where, like, Metroid, your option was get a GameCube or get a Wii copy and, like, play it on a Wii U is, like, the most modern way to play Metroid. Period. And so now we have, like, it's on the Switch. It's just out.
So cool.
It's really out digitally. Cool. And so they shadow dropped Metroid Prime just during the last Direct. And another game that's on this list is Hi-Fi Rush. Hi-Fi Rush was another shadow drop from Microsoft.
That's what everyone's talking about. Everyone's talking about, like, that and Wild Hearts. That's the game, dude.
Man, I don't know. We'll talk about Wild Hearts, but
I know.
And I want
the Monster Hunter guy.
I want to play Wild Hearts. Like, it's in the plan, but I just can't justify, like, whenever there have been competitors to Monster Hunter, like Dauntless is a big free-to-play Monster Hunter style game that has, like, cross-play and cross-progression and, like, all these things that Monster Hunter doesn't have.
Right.
But, like, one of the things about Wild Hearts is free-to-play. Not Wild Hearts. Dauntless is free-to-play. Wild Hearts is $70.
Yeah. And it's comparable to Monster Hunter, but it's not exactly like Monster Hunter. Monster Hunter definitely is leagues ahead of Wild Hearts. So, yeah. I just, had to put that out there before we go any further. But, like Wild Hearts is cool. Monster Hunter is better.
Yeah, I mean, this is Wild Heart's first outing. This team actually made the Tokaiden games, which were Monster Hunter style games back on the Vita and PSP. So I know there were a lot of those kind of games to compete with Monster Hunter back then, but now like the only competition they have is Dauntless, and like people will play Dauntless. Like some of the people I hunt with, they're like, I have that Monster Hunter itch, there's nothing out. Like that's actually Wild Hearts. I thought it was a bad idea for it to drop when it dropped, like right after Monster Hunter Rise coming to current gen consoles. But for all the people who are playing more hardcore than me, they did everything there is to do in base Rise, and they know Sunbreak is coming at some point in spring, but it's like they're, for the most part, done with base Rise. They're set up for when Sunbreak comes out, because that's like a soft reset. Like everything in Sunbreak is so much better than the best stuff in base Rise that you get set up. Like, I have a few things that I want to do, and I want to platinum this game eventually, but I don't see myself platinuming Rise until after Sunbreak comes out, at the very least, because there's just so much content and so much more of an end game, so many more reasons to keep playing, and just with the Sunbreak content, like, because it's been out on Switch. Like, Sunbreak has been out since last year on Switch. We played through the entire campaign. A lot of us did some of the, like, end game grinding to, like, get better and better, like, do curio crafting and, like, engage with, like, the high level systems that Sunbreak brings to the game that base Rise just doesn't have. So, I mean, I know most of the content, but there have been title updates that have been dropping for the Switch version that I can't go back. I legitimately, for no reason whatsoever, could go back to the Switch version at any point in time after playing, like, what, I'm probably like 80 hours into the PlayStation 5 version, and so
it's a bit of like a disconnect, like going back. No, I feel that completely.
Man, 30 frames per second, 720p couldn't be me.
This is gonna sound ridiculous, but I'm still playing Marvel Snap, and I just found out you can put a 60 frame per second on Marvel Snap. Didn't know you can do that. Like, we're just digging around with the settings. Yeah, you can go 60 frames per second on Marvel Snap, and I cannot go back to 30 frames per second. Like, I can't, because the eye candy alone, like the way these graphics change, even on like a simple ridiculous game like that, like it makes the difference. So I hear
the art in Marvel Snap, like that's something I still continuously see. Like, I haven't really been engaging with the game, and so like we've talked about Marvel Snap before, and like the Marvel movies getting me into playing whatever season of Marvel Snap is going on at the time. But I am like, Ant-Man seems like a hard pass for me. Like, I'll wait for it to hit Disney Plus. Like,
if it wasn't for Jonathan Majors, I would not see this movie.
Paul Rudd's cool and whatever, and like Ant-Man.
Keep going. Go
like, Ant-Man's a cool character, and I mean, my name's Anton, and I think like he has one of the ants in the comics that's like his best friend is named Anton. Yeah. Like, I have a bias towards it, but I've reached a saturation point of
understandable.
I'm gonna watch it. Like, I intend to watch it. I want to see Kang. I want to see like the Quantumania is still, like, they squandered the Multiverse of Madness title. Yeah. Like, Multiverse of Madness is such a cool name. And then Thor Love and Thunder, like, it had some of those vibes that I was looking for out of a movie called Thor Love and Thunder. But it wasn't like...
It dropped the ball. Yeah.
They are giving these awesome, amazing titles to things. And then just, like, I'm like, Multiverse of Madness? Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Like, zero context, that sounds like a cool fucking movie.
Yeah.
In reality, that is not that cool of a fucking movie.
It was not that good of a movie. No. It was mid at best. Yeah.
Quantumania, from all accounts, it seems like they're squandering the name, and because like you're going into the quantum realm, and there's going to be quantum fucking mania, and like
and you may not see that, or it may be just for a blip.
it doesn't seem like they are leaning into that full foot the way they could. And so
but I will say for all you listening, like I have to watch it. Like fans have been telling me I gotta watch it, so I gotta watch it, and I can give a review. Whether it's like it's a 2-minute or 3-minute review, I gotta.
When that drops, you can count on my listen, because
you are not going to the theater. No, I hear you.
Like, Wakanda Forever was the last one that I could, and just
it was okay.
Yeah, it didn't. They had to work with a lot. Like, Wakanda Forever is probably one of the best like new era movies that they've had,
because they had to completely change his world. So no, I hear you. Yeah, they had to completely scrap the world they had before, rechange it, and give you something fresh. And like, it was good. It wasn't awful. It was good. Well, they did what they could.
But that was also, I'm like, y'all had your chance. Like, I'm waiting for Disney Plus, because by the time like I saw Wakanda Forever in theaters, and then how surprisingly fast it hit Disney Plus. Same thing with Thor. I'm like, all right, seeing Thor first week of release, right there, Disney Plus, like surprisingly fast. So it'll be surprising. All I have to do is tune out for like a minute. What's the next Marvel movie we're supposed to be getting? The Marvels.
The Marvels, that's right.
I think
just promoted it.
Yeah, I think I might tune in for the Marvels, but like, I also haven't seen any of the Ant-Man movies in theaters. Now that I think about it, because I didn't see.
You're not alone, so don't feel too bad about that.
Yeah, I didn't see Ant-Man 1 in theaters. I don't think I saw Ant-Man and Wasp until like Disney Plus was out, and like maybe between Infinity War and Endgame, or like post Endgame. Honestly.
And between you and I, if it wasn't for FTO, I wouldn't be seeing any of these Marvel films. So like I do it for the people. I do it for the people, and I usually I see it as hate watching for me. So you know what? It's what it is, because I try to be nice. But if you listen to the old episode of FTO Nerd Talk, you will hear the disdain I have for these Marvel films. But
have you watched the Velma show while we're talking about TV? While we're on,
you know what? You're a person I really want to talk to about this, considering like I feel like you may have a stake in this. But like I tried watching the first episode, and as I was watching, I was interrupted, and I found out about like Mindy Kaling, and she is an awful individual. So I never got a chance to actually watch it, but I have seen some clips come through. And we're gonna take a break from talking about the games, talk about this for a second. Just bear with us, guys. But
this is still FTO Nerd Talk at its heart, and D and I don't get to talk that much. We'll like text throughout the week, so yeah, you're my comic book and like entertainment go-to guy. That was part of the reason we initially started talking. Was like,
exactly.
I'm watching all these shows, watching all these movies, like engaging with all this pop culture stuff outside of games, and so that's how we started talking. And then like Table Cheese came about.
On the podcast, He's a hop on the podcast I did weekly, and then like we talked about doing Table Cheese, and we started talking about games of the week. But the show Velma is getting a second season. Apparently, it's in development. But fans call it very offensive. Like, she does nothing. She fetishizes white men the entire time. She talks crap about her being Indian American the entire time. Like she does nothing but do the same thing that she's always done, which is make tropes about being Indian American and like fetishizing white men and talking crap about other like brown and black women the entire time. So that's the whole show in a nutshell. And jokes that never land, apparently, from tons of critics.
Yeah,
that keep telling me this.
So I just finished it last night. Like, it was
wow.
Yeah, I watched, because it would be the thing of I'm getting on HBO Max to watch The Last of Us, and like I need something to watch post Last of Us to just kind of sometimes break that atmosphere, because The Last of Us will. But yeah, for me, I'd probably watch a second season if they were to do a second season, but I don't feel like it's needed whatsoever. I don't feel like the first season was entirely warranted. It could have died on the vine at any stage of development, and I would have been completely fine. So
let me ask you this: Do you, given like that, about the hate that the show has, and like all the fans who've been talking crap about this show, and like you watching it yourself, and like you're only like kind of like it sounds like you're kind of mixed about it. Like, do you think the second season can redeem the first season?
Probably. If it comes out? Like, honestly, if it's the same people behind it, and like this effort is like your first foot forward, and like let's really kind of like make a name for ourselves and like make this thing, based on a property that's like huge. Like, the second season's probably going to just be more of the same, and that's the whole show is just more of the same. Like, you saw the first episode, pretty much saw the season, except they're going to throw in some like complete ass pulls. Well, no, like as far I don't think there is any actual like.
There's naked people, but like they're covered by suds. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I don't think there's any like actual like graphic full on, because HBO will go there. So.
Which is surprising. You think they would have went there with the Harley Quinn show, but they never did. Like, they always like.
Did you see the Valentine's Day special?
I gotta watch it. I know. They go hard. I know. I heard about how hard they go on that Valentine's Day special. I gotta check it out. It's 45 minutes long, dude. So I gotta get on it. Yeah,
I mean, it's really. They definitely go places in that holiday special. There are phrases I heard uttered in that show that I have never heard spoken out loud.
Like that.
Like, yeah, it's a Valentine's Day special in the horniest way possible. Like,
nice. I like it. That should be the title of the show right there. That should be. That's funny. But I am watching. To go back on track a little bit with the game, I am watching like this THEATRHYTHM game. Mm-hmm. This is what is this?
It is a celebration of 35 years of Final Fantasy music, is what it is.
Okay.
Like, so THEATRHYTHM was a 3DS game they released for the 25th anniversary. Now, 10 years later, in between we've had Curtain Call, and there's a Japanese arcade one that came after Curtain Call. And so this is all the improvements, but this, like, one game, so it's broken up by, like, franchises, and so there's Final Fantasy 1 through 15, and then for, like, Final Fantasy 7, there's Final Fantasy 7, Final Fantasy 7 Remake, and then the Final Fantasy 7 series, which has music from Advent Children and Crisis Core. I don't think any Dirge of Cerberus, but I'm not sure.
Okay. It's very Japanese in the controls that I'm seeing right now. Like, very Japanese.
It's a rhythm game, but considering Square Enix's last rhythm game with Melody of Memory, playing that controls-wise was a nightmare. All you need for THEATRHYTHM is at any given time 2 buttons and 2 sticks.
Okay.
So,
okay. That's not terrible. That's like a fighting game. Kind of like a fighting game mechanics.
Fighting game, I need 1 stick and at least 6 buttons.
Okay. Oh, you need a full-on D-pad and a joystick. Gotcha.
Right, yeah. So
all right. I didn't know you rocked the fighting games like that. That's good to know.
Oh, where's my fight stick?
You do not.
It's a tiny
Do you
one.
Really?
It's a little fight stick.
Oh, nice.
It's a tiny, but I can,
Anton, you letting that gamer flag fry. I didn't know you rock like that with the fighting games.
I'm better on a pad, honestly. Like, top fighting game players, like world champions in a bunch of games with Evo, play with controllers straight up.
Okay.
Like, fight stick is if your brain play, like, whatever you play better with is what you should probably compete with.
Gotcha.
And, like, especially with games like Tekken and, like the accessibility of every console comes with a controller, and so if that's how you got started playing fighting games, really, that's what you know and that's what you've gotten proficient with, it doesn't make sense trying to set yourself back to try and use a fight stick because you think that'll give you a competitive advantage, because it won't.
It probably won't.
Like, changing up your tools doesn't make you a better craftsman, you know? Like,
you raise a very good point there. You raise a very good point there. And like I guess I never really thought about it like that before. I do see more competitive players play with like controllers. They're like, that are fighting joysticks. So yeah, no, I hear you.
Yeah. So
the Octopath Traveler 2? Is that what it is?
Yeah, Octopath Traveler 2. I played the demo for this. They released it during the Nintendo Direct. It was one of the shadow drops of the Nintendo Direct alongside Metroid. And I played the demo on PlayStation. I played the Hikari Path. I think that's the name of my character. But so for people who don't know, Octopath Traveler is a JRPG that they use the HD 2D styles. It has really great like composers, like really great music, great visuals, but it is
stunning.
Yeah,
it's simple, but it's really stunning.
Well, the thing is, the game is deep. Like, the combat system's really deep, and it's a game where you're gonna have to grind because the game is also really unforgiving.
Yeah,
it really harkens back to how when people think back to like the SNES JRPG era.
Exactly,
it's giving you that, but just in a modern game. Like,
and it shows. It really does show. Like you can see like in the graphics, you see like it looks modern, but definitely a classic JRPG, like for sure.
And for me, I thought this would, because I bought the original Octopath Traveler. I played the demo for it. Was like, okay, cool. Yeah, I'm liking what I'm seeing here. Bought the original Octopath Traveler. Probably played like 5 hours tops, and then just never played it again. Because
what does that mean for the people listening at home? Like, does that mean they should keep playing this game? Like, that you just got something on your plate? What does that mean?
If you want to get invested in a world and have like 8 protagonists and have their view on the world, and you want, because there's a whole continent, there's a whole like, political struggle, there are kingdoms, there's a lot of like proper noun vomit, like kind of up front of like, in the magical land of whatever, they have dominion over the dragons, and the dragons have lived since, and like all that kind of, and I don't think that a dragon kingdom's a thing in the game, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was.
They just overload you with information. They info dump you. I got you.
And so, like, the game starting off, you have to play through the opening chapter of each character's story, like, as you go through the game. Because that's the best way to, like, progress your party and, like, be leveled. Like, sure, you could probably go from one character's chapter 1 to their chapter 2. But, like, just the difficulty gap, you'd be grinding for way longer than it would take you to just go do another character's story and get XP like that.
Yeah. Like, that's not really how you play games like that. Like, it's a switching character stories like that either. So, like, you would just be grinding the entire time. So, if you want to grind, like, I guess, like, this would be the game for you. But if you, like, you don't want to, like, spend a lot of time doing stuff like that, like,
well, the thing, maybe I just don't have time to get invested in a new world completely, like, detached from any of the, like, major, like, franchises and worlds and properties and, like, IPs that I'm invested in right now. Already, like, I'm sitting here, every episode of The Last of Us makes me think, like, I should probably go start playing The Last of Us Part 1, like, the PS5 version.
Have you?
No, not yet. Because I thought I'd do it after the first episode, but I also realized I wasn't ready to hurt from his daughter dying. Like,
ooh, boy,
again
for 15 minutes. My goodness, yeah.
Right. So, yeah, I'm glad.
Yeah.
Right, Last of Us. You gotta always have something to break the tension after Last of Us.
I shouldn't laugh because like it's a dark show.
Man,
but I will say like one last thing about this it's getting renewed. Good for it.
Well, it's been renewed. It was renewed, I think, after the Bill and Frank episode is when they announced season 2's coming. And
my wife got on. My wife watches stuff like The Bachelor, and she watches like ABC shows like Grey's Anatomy, like from time to time. Like she watches some documentaries and murder podcasts, and all of her podcast platform that she listened to many of, like over 20, have been talking about this show like crazy, The Last of Us, and she is now on a train of The Last of Us. So she is watching Last of Us. She caught herself up.
She so glad.
It's so good. Crazy?
I'm so glad it's so good that like I'm having a hard time getting my normie coworkers to watch it, but I think that just if any of them watched it, all of them would be into it. Like the only thing is me, gamer guy, recommending a gamer show, and it's like, but if
you put too much like gamer emphasis inside of it, that's what it is, man. Well, you got to talk to them like a TV person.
The thing is, typically they don't watch the same things that I watch.
I gotcha.
In general, like I'm watching the newest season of anime. Like I'm at work, like, hey, has anybody watched the new season of Gundam? Because that shit was crazy. And
how do you sell the show? How do you sell Last of Us to people?
Well, my thing is from the people who don't have a connection to the game. The sentiment I'm seeing is it is a zombie show with the strength of The Walking Dead season 1. It has like those kinds of highs and just like that level of prestige with non-gamers as like I'm getting real Walking Dead season 1 vibes out of this.
See, I feel that. I hear that. And maybe for a TV guy, I would be kind of hooked. But like Walking Dead let me down after a couple of seasons. The way I pitched it to people is this is like The Walking Dead meet Game of Thrones with like a story that will make you sadder in your entire life than you've ever been, but like you can't stop watching it. It's like a Japanese drama with like the same elements of The Walking Dead and Game of Thrones with their hierarchy, but sad. And it's like it's a good watch. It just is like we talked about like before how we were going to talk a little bit about this show, and we're going to pause again from talking about Octopath Traveler 2 and to talk about this because episode 5 like messed me up, man. Episode 5 with Henry and his brother messed me up.
Sam and Henry.
A little bit of spoilers in this, but like you see Joel and Ellie.
Did you know that was going to happen?
Hell no, I didn't know that was going to happen.
Because that happened in the game, so I didn't know how familiar with the game you were. But they're changing so much. That's the thing, is they have that suspense. Even with, I knew what was going to happen because I played the game. And for the most part, like, there are small details changed about enough. And, like, certain characters, like, Bill's alive in the game.
Yeah, Bill was alive in the game, but Frank had died. And
Frank had killed himself.
Killed him, like, and you didn't find out about that. Like, spoiler alerts again. Like, and you didn't find out about that until like you read the letter that they were like in a relationship with each other, right?
It was like not a main critical path thing, like it's something. But yeah, for me, knowing that was going to happen with Sam and Henry, I was like, but they've just been changing so much so consistently that I'm like, maybe it won't happen. Until it actually happened, I couldn't be sure. Even with the Ellie blood thing, like that I was like, because they've changed so much about like the lore of the cordyceps and how it transferred to humans and like the way the outbreak spread, and like there are so many like changes around. Like Sam and Henry, you don't meet them, like it was Kansas City that they were in. That's not where you meet them in the game.
It was Wyoming, Missouri, I think it was. Yeah.
So
I've been watching my wife got me watching like the actor comments, like the behind the scenes stuff after episodes. I used to just skip past those because I don't want too much information, but they are hardy to watch. If you are watching the show, I highly recommend you watching the commentary after every episode, because like you get a hell of a treat after every episode.
Well, there's also, I know there's an official like HBO produced Last of Us podcast that goes deeper in with Neil Druckmann and Craig Mazin, like getting deeper in. And then on top of that, Troy Baker, the original actor who played Joel, has a podcast, and so he's talking about it every week as God. Like the original actor who played Joel. So
have you checked any of them out while you're working?
No, just I probably will just burn through like those chunks in one solid. I've been listening to Kind of Funny's weekly recaps. Okay. And I've been listening to Last Stand Media's weekly recaps. So
yeah, like I don't watch it the same day as everyone else. So like I just watched episode 6 today, and whew, that was a banger. And like episode 7 will be even rough. It'll be a flashback episode. So yeah. But episode 6
so you don't know what happens.
I do know about that. Like fans have talked about that quite a bit, so like it's hard like not to know about what happened with that. And I think that wasn't a different game that you found about that kind of stuff.
It was so originally when the PS3 version came out, they said they were going to have one story DLC pack. Like they were going to have a DLC pack of multiplayer stuff for the factions mode, and then they were going to have a single player story DLC. Little over a year and a half later, I remember it came out on Valentine's Day, the year it came out. Where
this isn't spoilers. Like he's not gonna get into spoilers. He just talking about like the origins of the next episode. That's all. Right. That's all we're getting into.
So that was the DLC that like we knew it took place. That it was a story DLC that was gonna involve either Joel or Ellie, and there wasn't a lot that we knew going into it. Like I think there was maybe one trailer talking about what it was going to be. But I remember it coming out on PS3 as DLC, and then it was bundled. Every other time the game has been released, it's been bundled in. Like there's no way in 2023 to buy The Last of Us without Left Behind.
Gotcha.
Because it's so vital.
It's important. It's important to the story for sure. Like you learned out so much more about Ellie from this, and like not just about her personally, but like about like how you found out about her character and like why she had to meet Joel. Like you just found out so much about her from that you gotta take note of it.
And
like,
they've alluded to it in this show. Mm-hmm. Like there have been like small hints and teasers and Easter eggs and like things that were, as a matter of fact, the last episode had so many Last of Us Part 2 nods. It was crazy. I was like, wow, they're just going to be here. That's kind of, she's here for 0.2 seconds. Wow, I like that. I like that they're playing around with the mythos. Like they're actually having fun with the mythos. So like the gamers aren't angry about it, but like the gamers are also invested enough in it without it being like exactly like the game, but like they know things about the game. It's kind of like the Game of Thrones. That's why I say like it's like Game of Thrones, but also like The Walking Dead, because like it has like those nods like you see in the books, but it's not exactly like the book. But it's also, Invincible.
Or that Invincible, exactly. It's kind of like the books, but not exactly like the books. But it's a cool vibe. Yeah, exactly.
It's like Invincible changed just enough and like changed up the order, and certain things were happening sooner, and certain things were happening in different places, and like, but nobody who wasn't a fan of the Invincible comics is like, I can't believe how not faithful the show. Like, I can't believe they changed all these things.
Would never say that, yeah.
Right.
They would never say something
so
like
that's
that.
how me, as a Last of Us fan, that's how I feel about the Last of Us show. As somebody who
makes you more invested. Yeah.
Played the game when it originally came out on PS3, played it again on PS4 with the remastered version, and now thinking about playing it again with the PS5 version.
Got a lot on your plate, man. Got a lot on your plate when it comes to this. Like Last of Us, it's getting you hook, line, and sinker. I'm pretty sure by next episode you're gonna be playing that game. How about this? By the time we get that recap episode where we recap the entire season, you're gonna be playing Last of Us. I can feel it. I feel it in my guts.
I mean, I probably have it installed, but like, I'm just unsure about, because there is probably, just thinking about, like, I know the big single player story focused like games that I'm going to be playing this year, and there are some juggernauts, man. Final Fantasy 16 is just something like, that's part of the reason it looming is part of the reason that I am just like, I can't play Octopath. I can't get. I'll go play some Final Fantasy 14. I'll get more into the Final Fantasy world to get ready for 16.
Before we go, because we do got probably gotta cut this a little bit shorter than usual. But before we go, I will say all the games that I'm excited for this year that that get me more and more hyped has to be like the Final Fantasy 16, Diablo, Jedi Survivor, Assassin's Creed Mirage. I know.
That's fine. I've played a little bit of Odyssey, a little bit of Origins, a little bit of Valhalla. Like, I'll still check in and play. Like, Assassin's Creed.
You got to, right?
They're not bad games. It's just kind of the same thing over and over, but you haven't been playing.
No. So like me getting myself out of it, it's not that bad. Exactly.
Right.
And I like Valhalla. Valhalla was fun. Valhalla was a fun game.
Okay. I mean, Valhalla was just... Valhalla had a really slow start.
Okay.
Like, Valhalla just kind of meandered for so long. It was like 6 hours to the title card. You were in the prologue for 6 hours. Really? Nah, man. That's kind of like, I get it for the people that these games are being made for. That's what they want. But that is not for me.
That's how they started. That's how they started out like that. Like being like that elongated. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I remember. I played Assassin's Creed 3.
That's how they used to be. It used to be just like that. It's like it wasn't out of touch for me. Like this is like, okay, no, Assassin's Creed game. This is how it's supposed to be. The Wolf Among Us 2 is something like I'm interested in seeing. I'm interested in seeing, and like in Payday 3 or games like I'm looking at you. That's how I see it.
The game you need to be looking at is Street Fighter 6, because I don't know if you saw the Capcom Pro Tour finals.
It's gorgeous. It's gorgeous.
That's not the important factor here, D. The important factor is next year's Capcom Pro Tour. The prize pool is $2 million. That is the largest fighting game prize pool ever. First place gets $1 million. That is the largest single player payout for a competitive fighting game ever.
So we gotta go back to Radix. We gotta go back to Radix one of these days, and I can have a nice long talk about Street Fighter when it comes out. I feel like we should do like a little game fest, you and I, when Street Fighter 6 comes out.
Oh, yeah. And I'll be there day one.
Like they see, and go to Radix and just go at it.
June, the big 3 hit: Final Fantasy 16, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse Part 1.
Wow.
Street Fighter, Final Fantasy 16, Street Fighter 6, whichever one I didn't say first.
But like those are definitely the top games that like I'm looking forward to. I know you got your list also, and we got like another episode coming out this week. So like Anton and I are gonna be back this week to talk about more stuff.
Yeah.
But I think that's all I got for this week right now. Like I know like we're kind of like feel like we're kind of rushing. We kind of went off track just a little bit.
Yeah, but it happens.
2 weeks out, man. We're 2 weeks out. We just came back. It felt good, and like we got Last of Us on our brain. Like Last of Us has been clouding our minds. It's been eating us up, going at it, and just like making us it's puppet. So
okay. And D, I'm sending you this list of games just so you can put this list of games, zero context, in the episode description. So for people who've listened this long, these are the top 14 games so far this year, according to Metacritic. I weeded out, like, they counted Witcher 3 Wild Hunt for some reason on the Xbox Series X. I'm like, even that came out last year. Why is that on the list? Like, I don't...
The hell?
So, yeah, it was some weird things like that. But for the full list of the 14 best games you can play in 2023 that released in 2023, I just sent D the list and just throw that in the description or something.
I'm watching like this Street Fighter 6 trailer, by the way, and like, Marissa is she's talk about a muscle mommy. My goodness. Just saying. I'm just putting that out there
man.
too. But like, yeah. And I know I'm wearing the beanie, and like I'm about to say something that's very hipster, but I was into muscle mommies way before that title was a thing. So just throwing that out there too. If you guys go back and follow like my stuff on Facebook, definitely into muscle women long before it became the norm. So yeah, that's probably my new favorite character right there. Mike, you see what she's wearing? Oh my goodness. All right. Anyways, I think that's the show.
we got to keep D off Rule 34 Street Fighter.
That wasn't even an option until you just said it. So now I gotta go check them out.
Sorry, my like that is.
I know that's a death sentence right there.
That's any character. Rule 34 is like, sorry, you're already.
I mean, yeah, that's what's that? What's the saying for Rule 34? Like, for those of you who don't know, Rule 34 is if
there's porn of it.
There's porn for it. There you go, and that's Rule 34. Yeah. So there you go. So yeah, and it is no joke. It is dead on serious. So
yeah, that's yourself. The thing. Like Pokemon, it's the fandoms that I'm in. It just hits so fast. Like anime, a new manga will drop. MC day one, instantly. Like, yeah. So with just the fandoms that I'm in, it'll happen that fast. And so I know the Street Fighter fandom, they had a running start. They've been at it since the 80s.
Oh my goodness. So make sure you guys check out Rule 34.
No.
Don't do that. Well, put the link in the show notes. I'm kidding. But I'll put the game list in the show notes. Right.
That's what you need to be reading.
Oh my God. I'm D of FT Nerd Talk.
And I'm Anton Sixxx of Cheesy Controller Podcast.
And until next time, take it easy.
And keep it cheesy.
Hey guys, D here of FTL Nerd Talk. I hope you enjoy the podcast. Make sure you like, subscribe, follow, tell your friends about FTL Nerd Talk. Got a lot of different shows for all of you. Make sure you tune in every week for a brand new episode. Take it easy.